All right, what's happening, guys? This is a rebroadcast of the Peak Design Hangouts live from Kickstarter. For those of you guys that couldn't watch it or can't watch it on Kickstarter.com, this is what I have actually been doing the past 2 times, except this time I actually just missed it. I was just too busy and I was not able to watch it live, so now I'm actually going to rebroadcast it right now, live right now on YouTube, so you can go ahead and watch it as it was kind of broadcasted on Kickstarter themselves a few hours ago. They had a number of really important announcements, if you didn't already know, on their own YouTube channel and also on some other third-party channels such as Chase Reeves. They actually had a pretty thorough, in-depth look at the bag itself and actually at some of the pouches and stuff from Chase Reeves. You had an hour-long video that actually got you a much closer look at some of the features of the bag and, of course, what he thought about it. So I did get some other questions about some of the bags, but I think a lot of it's going to be covered actually in this live Kickstarter rebroadcast. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and move right onto it, and we're just going to replay that right now, and we'll watch it together. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Again, this is a rebroadcast of a live event that happened earlier today on Thursday. For those of you guys that don't know, they typically do upload the full original quality video on YouTube at a later date. Last week it was the day, not last week, but 2 weeks ago was the day after, and hopefully this time you will see the original quality, of course, again, when they upload it. Maybe tomorrow, who knows. Okay, so here we go.
Viewers, 180 viewers ready to go. Looks like Adam Hicks' Peak Design is awake. All right, let's let this go for a second here.
So we've got, do we have wash kits?
This
is not a wash kit. Actually, I'm going to give this to Mark.
Not ready now. You use it for now.
OR Peer, we are proud of you also. So I'm just going to talk for a second, and if you guys out there could chat and let us know if the audio sounds pretty good. Not that there's a lot I could do to change it at this point, but
check.
That'd be cool. We got you. Can we get a tour of the Peak Design office? Oh, man, I spent so long setting up the camera. Better, much better than previously, which is funny because we are operating on a setup that probably cost 1/50th. It's just a little Logitech webcam, but that's awesome. It is a pretty awesome place to work, Alvaro. We have a good time. Art is getting some stuff. Here we go.
Hello, everybody.
So we'll wait a minute or two here for a few more people to log on if they want to watch and participate live, but as usual, these videos will live on the page and probably on YouTube also. So it becomes a bit of a resource. I'm Lawrence. I'm the art director.
I'm Art. I'm a design lead focusing on soft goods primarily.
We got Jen over here who is in charge of customer satisfaction and a lot of logistics stuff. We're coming to you from the design side of our office. We got 2 rooms. That's how we're huge now. We have 2 whole rooms.
2 whole rooms. No, we're still very much crammed in our little office here, which is kind of how we like it. So,
all right, hovering at about 200 people watching. We're 2 minutes in. I think we should just get going.
Cool.
So we can take questions from you guys live. Some people have already put questions up. We've also got a small list of things we're going to run through based just on Hicks going through the comment board. As always, a big shout out to him and Stu, his helper. Makes our lives a lot easier. There's a lot for us to do here in San Francisco, so Hicks is better equipped and more patient with you guys on the message board, and it's super helpful for us. We see all of that stuff. He is a full-time employee of Peak Design, so treat him with the respect he deserves, but we give him a little bit of a hard time because he likes it. Cool. So should we go? Why don't we go through the questions?
Easy on the shaking the table there.
Oh.
It's linked to the camera.
Yeah. Which question should we start with? Should we go through the list that we compiled?
I think you can start with shoe pouch because I think it doesn't get a lot of love and a lot of people talk about it.
Cool, great. Yeah, no, we actually didn't really have good samples of shoe pouch until just recently. We were finishing a lot of details, so I think even in the video and on the Kickstarter page, there's only like a couple of vague photos. So this guy here is the real deal, though. So you can see it packs down very, very small into this nice little soap bar size thing here. The fabric that we're using on this is a 70D heather. It's super crazy lightweight. So you just unfold that guy here like so. Oops, inside out. And that's your shoe pouch. It's got a single big zip here that kind of wraps around the edges of the bag. So I got a pair of Lawrence's shoes here. Throw those guys in.
The trick to being an art director is to have funny colored shoelaces.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. They're like, oh, this guy's edgy. He must know something. I don't.
You should see my sunglasses.
So there you go. You know, there's room to spare in there. Those are kind of mid-height men's shoes. What are those? Number size 10s or something?
Like yeah, like 11s,
11s, 12s, somewhere in there.
12 and a half.
You can definitely, we have been doing testing on these just size-wise, and we're pretty confident that it'll fit the vast majority of people's shoes out there. If you've got really large feet, or you're, you know, like big, clunky, giant like boots.
Yeah.
And you know,
because these are right now with the bottoms facing down.
I wouldn't be traveling with those personally, but
you do you.
You do you. That's fine.
So yeah, these are in here right now with the soles pointed down. But you also can kind of, depending on the height of the shoe, put them sort of side by side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways. And so with this mid-size height shoe, there's still a little bit of room to squeeze some more stuff in there.
Cool.
Features on the outside. It's got attachment points.
Yeah, so we've got some of the external carry strap attachment points, which is actually kind of nice. We don't really recommend lashing too many of these pouches to the outside of the bag just because, I think people will do it, certainly. They're not really designed for that, like shape-wise, so that things get a little bit awkward. But this bag actually works pretty well lashed down to the top of the bag with the external carry straps that will be coming out of these pockets. Unfortunately, that hardware is coming in this week, so I don't have any of those straps to point that out. But we've messed around with that, and we think it works pretty well. It also has the C-clip loop attachments. I'm going to put this on your white shirt. It's a nice background. There you go. It's the C-clip loop attachments here so that you can secure this on the inside of the bag should you want to. Is that something that I think people will really want to do, and does it add like a ton of utility? I think the answer is not really, but we kind of wanted to be future forward and progressive with this and give you some attachment points. So here's a couple of C-clips on this guy here, like so.
There's a lot of you guys remember the C-clips. One of the big ways, in the context in which we talk about them often, is with the camera cubes, which we're actually not going to talk too much about today. As I saw Hicks was mentioning on the comments in there, we are making the focus of today's Hangout more about travel, some of the other accessories, some workflows regarding travel and packing. We're going to do a camera cube focused Hangout probably next week. Don't quote me on that yet. We'll get with the whole team and we'll figure out when. But
and part of the reason for that is that we have our basically final production cubes coming in. When we've got half our team in Vietnam right now doing kind of final development and kind of getting the lines up and rolling for production, which is great. So we wanted to just have like final stuff to be able to show everyone rather than kind of piecing together all of our weird prototypes that we have around the office. So
for sure.
Yep.
Big shout out to Vic and Lockett and Joey and Rachel, who are over in Vietnam right now.
Here's kind of what the shape of this thing looks packed out. as a bag designer, I actually really like how this thing came together. It's a single piece of fabric, and it's all got this kind of X-shaped darting thing here. And what that does is makes for a really long zipper path, so you get really nice big access. So I know it's just a shoe bag, but
C-clips be included with
I like
the
it.
shoe pouch?
Ooh, that's I don't.
Have C-clip attachment points?
it has C-clip attachment points.
At this point, the answer is no to that question.
Yeah, the answer is no. I mean,
It keeps the cost down. I think C clips will be
I think
a SKU you can get on its own at some point.
Yeah, I think that's kind of stuff that we'll have to kind of feel out and develop. But honestly, I think our big hesitancy to include them is this, like, we don't want people to feel like there's a lot of confusion around messaging around like how people are supposed to use things. And if it comes with C-clips, I feel like people will feel obliged to clip it into the bag, and it's just not really a high-level feature. It's mainly just some loops that we wanted to include on there in the event that people had some weird connection thing. You know, we want people to like the gear to be versatile and to kind of figure out their own way to use it. So I would say that is definitely a mega edge case. Like I can't even think of the benefit to doing that. So
yeah, but that's the sort of thing that Kickstarter backers pay attention to. You guys hack stuff together. You do cool stuff with it.
Totally.
When it goes out into the rest of the world, to the general buying population, we can't message to you guys because you get it, but not everyone will get it.
Totally.
So that's the sort of thing we might leave out of the final product.
Yeah. But if you guys think of any cool reasons for why you'd really want to do that, like, let us know. We're all ears.
Juan Pablo Amarillo is asking, is the shoe pouch waterproof? It would be nice to use it as a dry bag.
So it's not 100% waterproof, obviously, because it has a zipper. It does have a coated, I don't know if you can see that, probably not. We're using a coated zip on that. And the fabric has a silicone coating on it. So it is highly water resistant. And we wanted to do that so that if you put some, grimy shoes in there, that it would keep things from leaking out. The good thing about that is that everything is contained really well. The downside of that is that the ventilation isn't like spectacular on it. So there's like two schools of thought on shoe pouches. It's like either you want to be well ventilated or you want them to be isolated from the rest of your gear. We went for the isolated situation, figuring that if you want ventilation, just crack the zipper a little bit and you're doing great. So
also something, this is completely has nothing to do with Peak Design, but if you put your shoes into the freezer overnight, it kills a lot of the odor-causing bacteria.
You can also do that with your jeans.
oh yeah, people do that
jeans.
with your jeans.
I've never tried. Tom told me. Tom's got.
You want to know how easy it is to put that little shoe pouch back in the little pouchy thing. You show how easy it is to put it back.
Oh yeah, totally. So yeah, the stuff situation is great, and it has a little loop on here, so you can kind of like throw a little carabiner clip on there and kind of. We think a lot of people will use this beyond just this bag. It's obviously great for the travel bag, but if you're like, got your kind of daily gym routine or something like that, and you're carrying an everyday backpack or some other gym duffel thing, this is a great little deployment pouch for shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually a really I will say this, the packing cubes are awesome, and they're also extremely lightweight. This is like about as light as we would want to go on material for this kind of thing, or else, they're super durable and I feel very confident in it, but it is a very minimalist bag. However, it is very full featured. It's got the tear open access. It's got the expansion. It has the clean and dirty side. So all of that equals, a little bit more bulk than the shoe pouch. So if you're a just ride or die minimalist packer and you just want to go really serious and simple, the shoe cube is actually a pretty good mega minimalist packing cube.
But it has no compression.
No compression, has
expansion.
zero features. It's just a really well built, super tiny volume that weighs, I don't know what this thing weighs, like nothing. It's like
asterisks.
probably less than your toothbrush. Honestly.
Now people are going to ask, To get the.
We got a scale. Grab it. So
It's on the other side of the office.
I will use the packing cubes personally. They're still really light, but you know, what I will do is I'll use this as like a backpacking, like packing cube for sure. That would be rad.
I think so we've started to kind of put together what we personally want here in the office for our personal kits. I'm going to get a couple of these. All of a sudden, I just really felt like I was on like the Home Shopping Network. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take
Oh my
a
God,
couple.
it looks amazing on you right now. This is great.
But when it's packed down, all of a sudden, you know, if you get somewhere and you acquire more things, you've got a way to carry them immediately.
Yep.
Which is pretty sweet.
And by the way, the little external carry loops on those are, you can throw anchors on those and carry them with one of our camera straps. Or you can actually clip the external carry straps that come with the backpack onto that and it's kind of a shorter strap, but you can do like a little shoulder sling strap with that as well for kind of overflow mode. So
not bad.
Very versatile little piece. We almost didn't call it the shoe pouch as a result of that. We wanted to call these like the minimalist packing cubes, or this is the compression packing cubes, and this is the like minimalist packing cube. But we decided to just go with the main focus of the product, which is putting your shoes on.
Shoot. Jen is asking if it is machine washable.
So it's a silicone coating on the fabric. I would go with hand washing on it just because it is a technical coating on a fabric. It's not like it's not an apparel coating. It's like an outerwear coating. We'll run some more tests on that and see. I can't 100% say yes. I have very good faith in the durability of it and everything like that. But detergents and heat are weird things. So I would just go for a turn it inside out and
scrub it
some
down.
warm water and mild detergent in your bathroom sink is super easy.
Like outdoor technical.
I don't even think you'll need to go that aggressive with it. Jen was saying like Nick Wax, like tech wash stuff, because this doesn't have and doesn't need a water resistant coating, and like the big reason that you would do sport wash and like some of the more technical garment washes is to protect that. I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt if you had it, but I don't think you need to go out and buy a new detergent to wash this thing by any means.
Yeah. Cool. I think that should do it for the shoe pouch. We're going to update the page with some beautiful pictures of it and all that kind of stuff. It's been sort of woefully underexplained on there, but consider this the beginning of that.
Cool.
There's one question from Jerry about the tech pouch will fit a Sony A6000. So we're not really talking about camera gear too much, but say you're not getting any of the camera cubes. Like, how can you use the tech pouch if you want to carry one camera, or someone else asked if it would fit a small iPad? And if you just wanted to use the tech pouch for your camera and tech carry without on your notebook,
yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I think like the tech pouch is a super versatile tool for packing gear. It is lightly padded, so there's an element of protection to it. What it doesn't have is depth. And that's where what really defines a camera bag is the ability to fit a camera with a lens on it. So if you have a rangefinder with a really short lens, or even like a Sony like A6000 series thing with kind of like their pancake lens, or a Canon G series or that kind of thing, hell yeah, like 100%. Or, you know what, actually, I think a lot of people are going to be using this for is GoPros with like or action camera stuff with like all of this crazy amounts of accessories and cords and clips and all that stuff that goes along with it. This, I mean, I don't know if you can see in there. This just organizes huge amounts of tiny gear so well. You have visual access to everything. You can fit your hands into everything really, really well. You don't have to get all crazy with wrapping your cords up. You can kind of just stuff things in there and they kind of find their own place and sort themselves out when you zip it up. So
this is actually my stuff in here. It's like hard to describe how amazing this is to just not have to separate, or for the cables to be separate. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we got Sony a6000, an old Ricoh rangefinder.
Cool.
So one thing for sure, the
Let's make a little room here.
power blocks, these things, and mice, non-compressible items, these take up a lot of space. I think it's tough to carry a camera and stuff like this at the same time.
Yeah, like power bricks plus camera, probably not going to be a thing, but like there's the A6000 with the, or whatever this is. Yeah, the A6000 with the pancake on there, and there's definitely, plenty and tons of other stuff in there. So there you go. This, by the way, this pouch does have anchor attachment points on it and C-clip attachment points in the same way that the shoe pouch does, so that you can, this one I can see a use case for clipping it to the inside of the bag. Does it come with the C-clips? No. If you really want C-clips, let us know, and we'll work something out. I think we're not trying to leave anyone hanging. We're just trying to get realistic about, not making a bunch of crap that people aren't going to use, and it's an edge case for most people to
and controlling the cost too. Stuff's expensive to make, and passing on that cost to you guys kind of sucks, especially if not everyone's going to use it. Yeah. But if you do make a noise about it, we're at a point right now where we can start to think about, like, what are the accessory SKUs and products that'll be available, and what packages can you get, that kind of stuff.
And as far as like passing on costs, like our cost of these products, just for FYI, are directly tied to the cost of manufacturing them. So, I mean, this pouch is what, $60 MSRP, which, is not like on the cheap end for a tech organizer by any means, but it's directly tied to how much it costs us to make, because it's like all crazy top end premium materials and laser cut construction, and it's just expensive to make.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Sweet. Any other tech pouch questions while we've got one out?
Someone asked if you could put an iPad in there.
I don't
Kindle.
think. I mean, maybe one of those like Paperwhites. Is that the small Kindle? I don't think we've got one in here though.
We can. Here, I have a tape measure right here, so we can actually give you like what I think the max dimension would be for that, and it looks like it's about 19 centimeters by 12 centimeters. You could probably go a little bit bigger than that, but that's, yeah. You could go a little bit bigger than that, but that's the size essentially of like the footprint of the back of the bag, and that is a little bit smaller because everything tapers in.
I think like a Kindle would probably be like the max.
Yeah, like an iPad mini. I don't think you would be able to fit a regular iPad in here. It's just a little small.
We had a question about the C-clips, if they're in a position where it's beneficial for the side access. And I assume that means if you mounted this in the 45 liter, which maybe to make that a little more tangible, we can just show you guys how that's envisioned to be used.
Sure. I'm totally down to try it. I'm not sure I've messed around with it for side access, which is kind of surprising.
Be crazy.
Well, we're talking setting that up. Can you talk a lot about it? And a lot of people have asked like why the flaps, the side access flaps on the backpack open up towards you as opposed to away from you. It's like, especially for the everyday backpack, as far as getting into the like pockets and stuff, and then here for travel, like as a way, people said like having it open outwards, like kind of protects and hides your stuff. So I just wondered if you could speak to the school of thought as to why we have them open upwards on both this bag and the everyday one.
Roger. So it's going the opposite direction of where you'd want to go for side access, but for the main back access, it is going in the right direction. So in order to accommodate both, we'd need to have mounting points in a couple of different locations, and I think the bag would start to get a little bit molly-webbing-y at that point. As far as Jen's question about why the zipper path goes the way it does, that's a very good question. The big reason for it is because of the load. So I spent a lot of time thinking about the load path that exists. And the reason that the zippers go this direction on our everyday bag and on this bag is because essentially, when I'm wearing this backpack, you can see the load from the straps carries. As you can see here.
Why don't I put it on and you point?
Okay. As you can see here.
On the backpack.
On the backpack strap. So the backpack strap load carries directly over your shoulder and down into the main backpack here, and basically the zipper path is done to follow that load. If the zipper path was so basically the load goes like this on the bag, right? And if the zipper path crosses that, then when things on the bag start to settle and sag, as they do with a soft good, then it puts pressure perpendicularly to the zipper, if that makes sense. So when the bag is under load and the zipper is going like this, it would be really, really difficult to open the zipper. Whereas the bag is under load like this, it's super easy to get into the zipper because it's all in line. Does that make sense?
I think that does.
So it's a bit of a bummer that when it's tight up on you, it doesn't open away from you. We get that is a nice thing, and that's why we do that on our Sling bags as well. But we felt that it was better to have that load kind of aligned with the zipper path.
Someone's playing the fart noises over the stereo.
So
Didn't check how loud. Oh my! I wish I could turn the camera on because Tom is losing it. It's definitely him.
No.
Alicia jumped. Alicia.
it was so loud in the. I don't know how loud that was for you, but
That was terrifying.
so we have a list of an hour of fart noises that periodically someone throws on the speakers here. So we've gone through the entire hour before. By the way. One of the worst hours of my life.
I've also found that when it opens this way, it's just easy to get into it. You don't have to like keep holding it open. I don't know, it just kind of holds itself. You can get in and out of it. In using it, I've found no problems. And I think with the benefits you just mentioned, it seems like a really great workflow, a way to do it.
So some people have asked about that as far as why we didn't put pocket organization on the inside of these flaps as well. I've heard that question a couple of times, like we do on the everyday backpack. And the reason for that is that we had some on there and we messed around with that for a couple of prototypes, and it ended up being very frustrating because it works great. It was difficult to set up a pocket layout that worked well when you're going on the side access and from the back access, because it's completely different ideal directions of which way the pockets would be going. So you are guaranteed to be locked out of a pocket depending on how you got into the bag. And it was super frustrating. So we decided to go towards more of a front panel organization.
Mm-hmm. Saves weight, less cost.
Cool.
Those
Can
cool
you show a
things.
little bit more about the pockets that are in bags than the organization panel? I think that's kind of hard to show, like in the pictures, it's a little confusing. So
there's two main places where you're going to organize small stuff in this bag. One of them is this quick stash pocket here, which has a soft liner for sunglasses, or if you want to do, kind of wallet, keys, whatever, boarding pass is like great when you're going through TSA. You just like stuff all that kind of pocket garbage in there. And then the other one is up top here, which has these air bladders in here right now. And those have a couple of extendable pointer pockets / pen pockets, and
Put your vape in there.
yeah, and some kind of big dump pockets on the side. And that's basically designed with this the zipper path that kind of does this angle. So the idea is that I actually recommend leaving that pocket open, that zipper open. I know that sounds crazy, and then at that point you just have one zip, and you pull this open a little bit, and then you've got great access to the inside of that pocket there. And then you can zip it off if you want to secure it.
with both the front access zipper and I think the rear access zipper, you guys might have seen on the instructional that Vic and I did. I really like leaving these traveling zippers at the top because that essentially gives you quick top access to the main volume and to the front volume using these without us having to put in some sort of dedicated zipper to add weight and cost to get in there. It does double duty, and it's way easier if you just leave them there sitting for you. So pretty cool.
Great.
The rest of the orange panel?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool. So the other organization element in here is
There's another pocket on the front flap though too, right?
I got that in the
No, in the inside.
Here and then here also.
Oh yeah. So there's 4 main pockets on the inside of the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4. The top ones are mesh, so you kind of get light entering the bag if you have both the front and the bag open or the side or something like that. But basically, these are flat, but they're very big, so they hold quite a bit of volume on their own. Pockets there, and same down here. And then what's kind of cool is from the other side, there's an additional zipper. So from there, Lawrence can. So from this side, I'm able to get into the pocket. See?
Here, just tilt it over here too.
Yeah, sure. So from this side, I'm able to get into that pocket, and from the front side, I'm able to get into that pocket. So again, because this bag has back and front access, that's really nice to be able to kind of, basically, there's never a situation where you're completely locked off from a pocket where you can't get to it, unless of course the bag is completely packed out and you know can't rifle through it. But really, the layout is all designed around the main volume being camera gear, clothing, and kind of like point A to point B kind of stuff. And then the front panel being for kind of like your working organization, items you need quickly, things that you want to be able to have, get to in the seat of your plane, when you're stuffing the bag in the overhead bin, you want to have quick access to that stuff. Get your headphones, you get your neck pillow, all that.
Can you show what the front part looks like when it's expanded? I think a lot of people are like confused with it. People think like, oh, you understand you get the 3 cubes in the main area. What's the max if you were living in a fully expanded?
Well, before we expand it, let's just show storing stuff in here. It's not expanded real quick. So there is a little bit of volume, and we've talked a little bit about.
You get a small pouch in there. Unexpanded.
A small pouch.
Like this height, packing cube.
Yeah, I think you.
It's Tommy Bahama.
I think you could you can unexpand it as long as the stuff in the main volume isn't completely packed out super hard. You can do it. What I actually like to do when you're packing at the front volume and you're going to have a lot of stuff is start in the expanded state. So let's say you start expanded, and that gives you all this extra volume, and then you pack it out, and then if you can compress it down, great. Most times you can, and if you can't, then that's fine too. You just leave it expanded. That's that's what it's there for.
But if it is expanded,
and be nice to your zippers. When compressing stuff, you can really mess up a zipper. So.
When it is expanded in there, could you fit a medium packing cube? Could you fit a small packing cube?
You can fit a small. You can fit a medium and a small packing cube in this front volume, as long as they are not. As long as they're in their compressed state and they're not completely ballooning out. Yeah. So here's.
I'll load one up.
Yeah, I mean you can. So we'll show you that now.
Yeah, giving sort of max carry when you start talking about how many shirts can it fit and all this kind of stuff, we can get some numbers, and we do. Man, with soft goods, you can just crank on this stuff and really just go kind of crazy.
Kind of depends on what level of density you want your bag to be.
Yeah.
At a certain point, honestly, if you're traveling with camera gear and clothing and you're packing really, really efficiently and the bag is in its expanded state, I mean, frankly, I would not want the bag to get any heavier at that point and not have a full like 65-liter hiking backpack hip belt. Like you can get it really, really heavy at that point. So we can stuff out the full size too. Just to show the fits.
Here, we have a stuffed out shoe pouch with some stuff in it.
Cool. So yeah, so you can see that's camera gear and stuffed out in the front, and then this is the expanded zone. And again, that's the medium camera cube and the small camera cube. Packing cubes in their kind of compressed state.
Let's swap out one of those for a stuffed out tech pouch to show that too. So like if you go into the top, let's see, if it's fewer clothes, we want to put some tech stuff in there. Okay, that can go right in there. Cool. Yep. You know what I think we could also do on this bag right now is, so that's the tech pouch in the front. So that works in the expanded mode. And you also could put your packing cube back in. So I've got a medium and a small packing cube in the expanded front compartment. And then I can go back to my main volume, which has a medium camera cube and a pretty stuffed out shoe pouch. Stuff the tech pouch into the top. There's always a little bit of room.
Yeah, so the sizing of the bag is actually, it's kind of like crazy matrix of sizing requirements to like figure out the size of our like official standard packing cube unit, which is basically the size of the small packing cube and the expanded
small camera cube
and the expanded packing cube. My apologies. And that's actually, so the 3 camera cubes is actually based around the international max carry-on for in some places. Carry-on is subjective. What that means, it's a little bit dependent on what kind of planes you're flying on and what part of the world. But 20 inches is the max in some places. So it's actually based around 20 inches. And the reason for that is that, all right. The reason for that is that we wanted to be future forward with the gear in the event that we, let's say did some roller bags in the future, for example. We wanted to be able to get 3 packing cube units into a international size carry-on. The reason this bag is not international carry-on is frankly because it's a backpack, and just the leniency around being able to get an oversized backpack onto the plane we've found is, we have people here who travel with a 26-inch bag. This is 22, and like have never had an issue with getting it onto a plane. It's just one of those things that, kind of depends on the mood of your flight attendant, I suppose, and what airline you're flying. And I know some people have been concerned about that, and like honestly, you're gonna have to make your own judgments about that. And by the way, when this is expanded, is beyond max carry-on size as well, and you should consider that as well. Like, this isn't a max carry-on size bag. It's something that we've been calling carry-on plus, trademark, and that's basically means that the bag is carry-on, but carry-on only matters for 2 points during your trip. The 5 minutes when you're getting on the plane, and the 5 minutes when you're getting on the plane to go home, right? And then the whole rest of the time, like, the sky's the limit on the amount of crap you want to put in your backpack. So there's a lot of great little hacks around that. I actually recommend, like, let's say you're going somewhere that's cold and you've got a lot of cold weather gear, like wear your big jacket when you're getting on the plane, and then you can throw it in the backpack, or throw it under your seat or whatever, and then the whole rest of the time you've got that extra volume that you can use. Or let's say
the backpack plus your personal item.
Sure.
To get on the plane, but then once you're off the plane and you're traveling around, you can put that personal item in the backpack and that experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So take your tech pouch and your watch pouch out as your personal item. Take your camera cube out as your personal item and stash this thing. It's pretty easy to find little loopholes around that stuff. So we wanted to give you the flexibility and versatility beyond just being beholden to the, you know, the airline industrial complex trying to tell us how to pack our gear.
Don't let the man get you down.
Don't let the man get you down.
Kind of on that path, a lot of people ask like what the bag looks like and what you can get in there in the compressed mode. So like if you're in compressed mode, can you still fit in those 3 cubes? Can you fit in less? Like what could you fit in?
When you're in the top compressed mode.
Yeah.
So the top compressed mode is all about when the bag does not have, is basically 2/3 or less full.
So you can fit 2 cubes.
Yeah, so you can fit 2 cubes and still go into compression mode.
2 small cubes, 1 medium cube.
Yeah, sorry.
Or, you know,
Exactly.
the equivalent. 2 cube units.
2 cube units.
Plus
cube
the tech
units.
pouch, would that fit in there?
Yeah, I think
Can we show what that looks like?
We'll try.
it'll be a little bit borderline.
So what's interesting about the snaps, we've tuned them pretty awesomely, I think. And this is
Yeah,
slightly
they're actually
pre-production.
not tuned well in the Kickstarter
Demo that
video.
around for us.
Oh, sorry. I guess you guys are out that way. And this is pre-production. It's newer than the
Yeah.
video, but it's still
so this is
a little
still
pre-production.
a little weird.
See a little cone up here. There you go. Kind of compressed down like that. So there is a tech pouch in
Can you
there.
open the side of it so people can see what it looks like in compression?
What's nice is in the compression, you can still go into your side zips the way that zipper path works out. So there's your tech pouch kind of hiding in there, and there's this. So that is compressed. One thing to note, though, is that if there isn't anything in this, or there's, you know, this fills out the space really well, the camera cube. If you have like a jacket and a couple of layers and a tech pouch or something in there, the way that compression and the way that this zipper gusseting kind of thing works is, let's just show that a little bit. The bag does allow itself to collapse pretty nicely and naturally looking. So, you know, when you have less in there, it will look even smaller.
Can you still access
So that
the
kinda-
top access or the organization panels when you compress mode? Like, can you still get into your organization panels when you're in compressed mode?
Yes, you can. Everything. The great thing about the compression mode versus doing like compression straps on the outside of the bag. That's the way that like most bags out there handle kind of compression. Is that because the way that we've done the compression and the expansion, all of the zipper paths on the bag still work, which is awesome. So we basically utilized this like little negative space and built the bag around this like compression zone up here, and then built everything else around that, if that makes sense.
Which also feeds back to your zipper path question earlier about the direction that the side axis opens.
Right.
By having this sort of nice organic line here, you're also able to really naturally get this fold down there. And so that in compressed state, it's not just as functional as you just described, but it looks good.
Totally.
It's a good looking pack.
And I was just talking about Max, one of our engineers, earlier, and he was saying that he's planning on using this as his daily carry bag, just because he likes the option to like go grocery shopping on the way home and like really load the thing out. And I mean, it looks.
When I see tell people how tall you are.
I'm 6 feet tall.
Yeah. I'm 5'6", so it looks like a bigger bag on me because it is a bigger bag. Even in the compression mode, you can check that out. So you know, there's definitely like a torso sizing thing on for some people about whether they, you know, want to consider doing that as more of a daily carry bag. But yeah, it's okay. What do you think, guys? But I mean, I'm really small. I'm like top or like bottom 5 percentile for dudes. I think 5'5", 5'6".
You just making that up?
125 pounds of fury.
We're not doing weights.
Can you guys talk a little bit more about the other stash pockets on the sides of the bag and the luggage tag as well?
Yeah. So, got your open sort of side pockets here with a gusseted back, which allows you to accommodate some pretty big size thing.
And those pockets will each contain external carry straps, is that correct?
Yeah, the plan right now for external carry straps is one in each of the side pockets, and then 2 down here. So you'll have 4 external carry straps total, just like the everyday bag. So that'll allow you to do, a tripod on each side, should you need 2 tripods, or a tripod and a big, I don't know what you're carrying on the side that you need 2 of these things, but we'll give it.
And so the zip pocket on the side, it uses the same volume.
Oh yeah.
You're talking about, like, if you have a water bottle in there, can you still use that zip pocket?
Right.
Or?
So yeah, there's been a little bit of confusion about that. Basically, the way that these zip pockets on the side work is that they are essentially making use of the same volume. So if you have something thin stashed in there, yes, you can do both, but they're really designed to take advantage of a volume that may or not be utilized depending on if you're carrying a water bottle or not. So it's a way to get dual purpose out of the same part of the bag without having to like add in extra weight and features and stuff like that. So basically, I don't know if this is like, I'm hoping this isn't misleading. It's just like kind of complex to explain it all, but I really do consider these side pockets to be an either or with the water bottle pockets. If you have a big water bottle pocket in here, it's basically, taking up the volume that this little stash pocket would be occupying. Is that like a bummer? I guess if like you are just using the shit out of these things and you're using water bottles, that's like not ideal, but there's so many other great places to stash small items. I think it's a plus to have the versatility in those pockets personally.
Otherwise, we could have just only offered one stash, one side, but instead we offered both.
So they're both on each side.
Yeah. So yeah, really the only time you wouldn't be able to use these is if you're carrying 2 water bottles, or a water bottle and a tripod, or a water bottle and some other bulky object in this pocket, which is possible, but I think it's pretty rare.
Get small items in there, like chopstick.
Yeah, and you can still get small. There's still. It's not like I can't get anything in here. It's just that. It's shared space. So.
Put your vape pen in there.
Can you show the ID pocket?
Yeah, the ID pocket. So some of the reviews out there, I think like one of the first reviews I read was like concerned about this little pocket because it didn't have a closure on it. This one does not have a closure on it, but the final bags will have a little mini patch of Velcro in there to keep your card in, and then we're going to give you a little ID card with the bag. So that pocket is this little hidden stash guy there, and it has a little internationally recognized ID tag logo on it, which we invented for people to spot it. And even when the straps are sewed and everything, that little tag sticks out on the side there nicely.
And we're going to be providing a card that people can fill out, or they can use a business card.
Yep. Yeah, it's business card size, so you can put in your own business card, or you can fill out the little card that we give you should you not have your own business card. As
most people probably don't have their own business card, which is cool. That's fine.
That's cool.
Yeah, don't let the man bring it down.
Yeah.
There's been a few questions about the packing cubes and the dirty versus clean. A lot of people have asked, like, is the dirty volume smaller than the clean, or like how does that work?
The way it works is the dirty volume is essentially the same size. So it's it's pretty difficult to show it. If I can peel this back, you can see that dirty volume is pleated. There's this pleat right here. And that pleat is basically this similar volume to this pleat depth here. So when it fills up, right now that dirty volume is slammed all the way down to the bottom here because it's the same shape as this. As you fill it and the top empties, it will shift over to the other side. And then if it's expanded, it will start to like turn inside out basically and take up the volume on the other side. It is slightly less volume than the entire cube filled out. And the reason for that is that we didn't want to create a bunch of extra bulk in there. So if like you can't pack the entire volume out with the dirty stuff, but like you get like 90% of the way there. And the thinking is like, if you're on your, like at that point, you're basically on your last pair of clothes, and you always have the option to just like switch everything.
Or put your last dirty in.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. So it's definitely, you can hold a lot in the dirty side, quite a bit in the dirty side.
Another question, is there any place to hang my keys, like in the EDB or the messenger bags?
Yeah, that's, you know, it's
we
debated that a bunch. It's not, what it does have is loop locations so that you can tether keys inside of the pockets, or you can take the key tether from the everyday backpack if you're wanting to use it as a daily carry thing. For travel though, the only like what we were trying to think of for travel is like what is the key, like what do you want to do with your keys when you're traveling? And for us it was really just when you leave, you want to be able to put them somewhere safe. And some bags have like little like key clip places and stuff like that, but there's so many zipper pockets in the bag, we just kind of figured like just put them in a zipper pocket, and then we just save you the weight and the extra little dangly thing that most people aren't going to use.
The handles on the side, could you, if you wanted to, we do have the key tether available on the website, so if you wanted to grab a key tether off the side,
Totally.
it goes all the way down in the pocket.
Yeah, it works exactly the same. The side pocket layout it's not exactly the same because it has the hidden stash pockets, and they are different, but they're very similar in their setup.
Some questions about camera cubes and stuff, but I don't know if we want to go into that since we're going to be doing a camera cube specific hangout.
I think we'll keep putting those.
Is there any kind of? I'm happy to get into them a little bit. I just don't want to get like too into the weeds from it because our next hangout's going to be all about that.
10 minutes, but there's one question from one that has had like 10 upvotes. He says, I'm still trying to figure out what would be best for me between a medium and small camera cube versus a medium and a 5-liter sling. Also, would a tech pouch fit in both of these combinations? So, there's a few people that want to.
So it was a small camera cube versus a medium camera cube.
No, medium camera cube, and then would you do versus medium camera cube with 5-liter or small?
Oh, I
plus
see.
The tech pouch. Medium is the constant, and then
sure. I mean,
small cube and then tech pouch.
Let's show a 5-liter sling here. That seems valuable. I'm not sure we have one in the room right now. Lawrence is going to go grab one. They effectively carry the same amount of gear, and they both fill up the bag quite well. The 5-liter sling is a little bit bigger than the. You'll see the size difference when he brings it out. It's actually a little bit, just a touch narrower and a little bit taller, and about the same depth. And personally, I think I would go for a medium cube and a 5-liter sling because the sling is such a great deployable little day bag. There's certainly, a little bit more cost associated with that. But there are anchor attachment points on these as well. And so you can carry this as a little day sling as well. It's like ergonomically, it's fine. It's okay. Some people are going to love it for that, but it's not as good as the 5-liter sling because the 5-liter sling was purpose built for that. So I think that, I hope that kind of helps answer those questions a little bit, but that's 10-liter.
Yeah, Jim's still looking for.
All right. Anyone got a 5-liter sling kicking around? We'll grab one of those. Stand by.
Do you need a 10 at all?
I think I have one over by my desk. I think there's a couple.
Oh, we got one.
Yeah.
We got one.
All right. Cool. So there's the medium packing cube in here, and then there is the 5-liter sling. So you can kind of see the size difference between the two. They're roughly the same depth. I think this is a little bit deeper. And height-wise, this is just a touch taller, and the reason for that is so that you can fit an iPad in here. You will not be able to fit an iPad in here for various reasons, but this is kind of designed around an iPad size, and it is slightly narrower, but not by a ton. So the way that it fits into the bag really nicely is like so.
Could you still get a tech pouch in there too?
It's not bad.
It kind of depends on how packed out the 5-liter sling is and the tech pouch is. Here it is, but there's, I don't have a lot in the 5-liter sling, so it is compressing a little bit. But you could always put that tech pouch in the front of the bag as well, like we were pointing out. Let's see if I can pull this guy out.
You want to fill it with some stuff?
Cameras. Cameras, hey, we have this.
5D Mark IV. Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know that I would, feel comfortable recommending that you can fit, I can do it, but it's pretty snug, I think some people would be dissatisfied with that fit, but for others, I think it'd be okay. But
if you had a mirrorless and it's short lenses, et cetera,
Do you think you could put the 5-liter sling in the front of the backpack?
I don't. You could probably squeeze the 5 borderline. I don't know. It'd be tight for sure. I think you might be able to do it expanded, but it's not going to be pretty. We can try it. I'm down to try it.
Well, we got the back open real quick. People wanted to see the
Yeah,
10-liter.
If you wanted to take
Sure.
10-liter with you, what's your option?
I grabbed one without a strap on it.
Honestly, so here's how I travel with this backpack. When I need to bring a lot of stuff, I bring this guy and I bring this guy, or the 5-liter sling, and I just carry these as my personal item, and I carry this as my carry-on. And that some people are like, they want just one bag, but this bag, once you get the strap fairly tightened down, I just this doesn't have a strap on it somehow, but so I can't tell you about how to do it, but basically like this, I just carry it on one shoulder with the backpack, and it works great. I did 6 weeks in Europe,
The 10-liter is also very compressible.
A year ago, like
right?
that.
So
It's
you
great.
could take the dividers out, flatten it down, and basically put that in the front part of the bag. If you want to compress that, just take it along as your day bag, not packed in the back.
Yeah, the 10-liter sling does compress pretty well if you put the dividers down.
There might be an air pocket.
Yeah, there's dividers and stuff in here right now, but it does fold pretty flat once you take everything out. As far as how it fits inside the bag, not great, honestly. It won't go this direction. I mean, well, it doesn't go this direction well. You can see how I'm bowing the top of the bag out. And I'm probably, if I zip that up, it probably will squish the sides of the bag. Yeah, I can't, I can close it, but I think you'd have a hard time getting much else in there just because it's kind of deforming the bag.
We're not recommending that.
So I would not recommend the 10-liter sling to go inside this travel backpack. Cool. And is that something that in the future we would change the size of the 10-liter sling to fit with this, or change the size of the 5-liter sling to fit with this better? And the answer is no, because this is built around a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and this is built around an iPad. And those are the things that define the size and shape of these bags, unfortunately. So.
I think if you do already have a 10-liter and you want to take it along as your day bag, if you don't want to use the compressed backpack, you can flatten it and take it along in its compressed state in the bag in the front pocket.
Yes, sure,
If that's what your goal is, to have a 10-liter as your day bag.
Yeah,
you can packet it, but just in its fully compressed packed down state, not packed out.
Yeah,
totally.
Packed down 10-liter. That's cool. I love the 5-liter sling. I use that all the time. I shoot on pretty short lenses, so it works really well for me with that 5D. And it just fits so snugly into this bag.
Yeah. And this bag's a joy to carry. It really is. Just wraps around your body really nicely.
And then it's about 2 minutes left.
Cool. What else we got?
Somebody wanted to know if you knew the waist dimensions for the waist strap, and kind of along with that, what's your experience with this bag for hiking?
Waist strap size, I think that's growing from the pre-production versions.
We.
I know I had some people that said they tried it on the store and it was pretty small. So
Yeah. We added more length to it since then. I can give. Man, I would really have to dig around in my design files on my computer to get final dimensions, because this is not going to be final dimensions on that. I think.
But we will update the page.
I know that we are.
Yeah.
I can't remember if the final size we were trying to fit was a 44-inch circumference, or if the updated, or if that was the previous, and then we went even further than that.
Which is
but
different from.
It's at least 44-inch circumference on the waist belt. And the reason, we felt I know that we wanted to give a bunch of extra webbing because there's a really great place built into the waist straps to stow extra webbing. So people like myself with a really small waist aren't gonna be penalized with all this extra webbing flopping around. So.
Mm-hmm.
And with the waist belt, what do you have to say about if you're using it as a travel bag for hiking?
Totally. So this is a the kind of category that I put this in is like an adventure travel bag. And that means that it has the padded waist belt. And by the way, that padded waist belt, because it's on these rotating straps, when you walk, your hips actually move independently from the rest of your body. And that can really create huge pressure, and it makes your hip flexors super tired, and it wears you out really quick. So a lot of the best hiking packs out there will have a rotating hip belt as a result of that. So you get that benefit from it, but the things that do not make this a dedicated hiking backpack that I would recommend anyone taking on 10, 15, 20 mile, whatever, a day hikes, is that the backpack is primarily built around durability and versatility. So it's not like a super well ventilated back panel. So you end up, it's not ventilated at all, honestly. It's exterior fabric, because the thing is designed to be checked and beat to hell and be around in 10 years. That's the goal with it. That being said, it is pretty comfortable to carry.
I think it's the most comfortable bag we've made.
So
it feels awesome.
And then the other thing that would kind of be a nick against it for being a hiking backpack is it doesn't have sizing and or an adjustable torso to really get a super dialed in fit, and it doesn't have load lifters. And that is a really, we went back and forth on that. We have prototypes that have load lifters, and we thought about doing multiple sizes. And the reason that we didn't do that is that this bag is really, we're not expecting people to be carrying it for more than a few miles, and usually in short bursts. That's just the nature of travel versus the nature of backpacking. That being said, Peter Daring took it on a 15-mile.
He also went backpacking with the everyday backpack too.
Yeah,
he takes them out there.
Crazy, but
and he loved it.
Yeah, I think you could absolutely do it, and we built features in it that we wanted people to have that versatility where they felt empowered to do things like that with it. That's why it has the harness is robust compared to a lot of travel backpacks out there. But I am going to stop short of saying, hell yeah, you should get this, and it's going to be your new backpacking backpack this summer.
But you could do it.
It's just not a hiking backpack.
So if you wanted one bag that could go backpacking and
Totally.
You could take it for sure.
Yeah, you absolutely could. You absolutely could. Is it going to be the best hiking backpack for you? No.
It is burly and it is comfortable. It protects your stuff. It's awesome for just taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, shoving it into the top of some weird bus, and then getting on the horrible flight from here to there or whatever. It just stands up to abuse.
Yeah. And it's great to work out of when you're on the road also, as a photographer or just someone who's dragging a bag with them all day. It's great for that. It's just, backpacking is just this unique thing where like in no other situation in life are you walking for 8 hours a day with a heavy load on your back. So the requirements are just a little bit different. That's all.
I think that's it. I think just to say that there were a lot of more camera specific questions, but we're kind of saving those for the next hangout.
The next hangout is going to be.
We missed you.
Yeah. Next hangout is going to be all camera. It's just those hangouts. They end up being so much like switching between stuff, and it gets really technical. And I want to kind of like not. If people aren't, wanting to ask questions in detail about the camera gear aspect, I want to be nice to those folks' time.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I think with camera stuff too, and I know Hicks gets a lot of those questions on the comment board, but, check B&H or check Amazon. You can get the specs for a lot of your gear without even having to get a tape measure out, and do a little bit of math based on the dimensions we've put up too. That's a pretty solid way to start determining if your stuff's going to fit in certain ways. Totally. Extrapolate out from some of those pics we put up there. We've got limited resources. We try and get everyone's question, but we want to make sure there's enough tools out there for you to get your questions answered.
Yeah, totally. And we've got a lot of, we've got a bunch of, there's been questions about really specific gear and lenses, and we've got I think the top 10 lenses or something like that people have been asking about. That we're renting to get in the office and do. We've already done that actually, but the cubes have changed dimensions a little bit, so we're going to get final confirmation on all that stuff. So we're working hard to answer your questions on all that.
Cool. Well, it has been about an hour, which I think means we're going to sign off here. Thank you so much for tuning in or watching this after the fact if you're doing that. Like we said a few times, there'll be some other hangouts we do. We still have about 30 days left on the campaign. 35 days left.
Awesome.
Lots of stuff to talk about still.
Have 7,290 backers.
7,200 backers.
Almost 7,300.
As always, thank you for backing. It allows us to run this company and to make this stuff.
Yep.
We could not do it if we were seeking other forms of investment, if we were answering to other people. They would not let Peter Daring be the boss, that is for sure.
Yeah, there's no way.
I think Kickstarter is also really great. We get a lot of good questions that kind of either makes the design team think about, whether they're like, oh, we did think about this and, why. And so it really helps us to kind of explain our choices and why we did things, and also potentially go back to the drawing board about different things if we have enough time. So
for sure,
it's always a really fun process. So keep your questions coming.
Totally.
Yeah. Keep the questions
and just
going.
a little bit about that. I mean, this bag is a culmination of a ton of direct feedback that people have given us about the everyday backpacks and using them as travel bags, and more specific surveys that we've done to people about travel bags in general. So this whole line really is there's a lot of direct Kickstarter backer input on there. And if you've taken any of our surveys and given us feedback over the years, thank you so much. It's a huge part of our design process. And yeah, so we hope you like this.
Tom, where's your cheering thing?
Oh.
Time for that.
Alrighty.
Yeah, give me a second.
Cool. We're gonna boot up the air horn app here and sign it off with some enthusiastic cheering.
Lawrence, why don't you do some interpretive dancing?
All right, let's hear it for Lawrence and Art.
Yeah!
Whoa!
Okay, guys, that's the end of the actual live rebroadcast from Kickstarter. We're going to have another one next week that's going to get into a little bit more technical details about the bag itself. I'm really interested to find out what other advanced questions and stuff they're going to go and try. I know they're going to get the new camera cubes back, some of their adjustments, so maybe we can get a better idea exactly what other